I used to think that scoring high on the SAT was just about studying more, grinding through endless SAT practice questions, memorizing lots of formulas, and memorizing so many vocabulary words. If you apply the right strategies, your score increases. And if you don't use those strategies, you will stay stuck. And it's that simple. So in this video, as you can see in this whiteboard, I will share 5 really powerful strategies, and each one is so important if you're taking the March SAT. So let's get into it. So here we have strategy number 1, and it's called what versus so what methods. And it is so powerful. And firstly, I will give you the SAT question that I've created, and then I will show you how this strategy is applied in this specific question, and I will show you how you can use this exact same strategy on other SAT questions. So let's look at this SAT question. So let's start reading this. So it asks for the main idea of the text. Now let's read it. The proliferation of digital consumption, okay, regarding conventional print literature versus emergent electronic media. So they are comparing two things. The first one is conventional print literature, and the second one is emergent electronic media. So while those traditional books, they are for textual engagements, digital alternatives such as ebooks, audiobooks, and hyperlinked articles have introduced a shift in cognitive retention and accessibility. So it says the benefits of both of these methods, both traditional ones and digital ones. So now they're saying what researchers posit. And what those researchers think is integrating both of those, both print and digital formats, will help them for comprehension and recall. Yep. And it says there is an increase in retention rates. Yeah. Now, the main idea, in order to predict this question, this strategy, which is what's versus so what method, is going to help us to predict it. So the first step is, after reading a passage, ask yourself these 2 questions. So the first question here is, what is the passage talking about? So in this case, you have to find the topic. And in this passage, it was print versus digital media. And then the next question that you want to ask yourself is, so what's the big takeaway? Main idea, in this case, which is main idea, is using both print and digital formats together improves comprehension. So using both is really good. Now we can go to the answer choices and choose the right answer. Choice A. The transition from print to digital media signifies an inevitable of conventional books. Okay. So inevitable is a very extreme word, and I don't really like it. And as well, in addition to that, there's no kind of a transition from print to digital media, and the passage says we have to integrate both. That's why choice A is wrong. Now let's have a look at choice B. Digital consumption modalities have redefined the cognitive processes associated with textual engagement. Nothing about redefining those processes. So that's why choice B is wrong. A hybrid approach integrating print and digital media fosters superior comprehension and retention. And that's exactly what we predicted, and that's the correct answer to it. Now let's have a look at choice D. Audiobooks and ebooks have demonstratively surpassed traditional reading in terms of cognitive efficiency. Uh, no, we can't say that because the passage's conclusion is that we have to integrate both. And in this case, they're saying digital formats are better. No, it's not. So D is also wrong. So the best choice here is choice C. Now, let's move on to the next strategy. Strategy number 2. And it's so powerful. If you use it right, I'm sure you can ace your March SAT or whatever exam you were taking. So it has to do all about extreme words. And knowing these words is going to help you to eliminate answer choices really quickly. And if you can spot those, it's going to be so easy. And but I can't guarantee that every single answer choice that uses those extreme words is incorrect. In 99%, in 98% of the times, those answer choices are going to be wrong that include an extreme word. But sometimes, if the passage actually says that, then it might also be true. So I've actually went ahead and collected all those extreme words that you should be aware of. And I found 3 main patterns. So the first type of extreme words is absolute words. And those things include like always, never, completely, forever, all, everyone. And I highly recommend you to be aware of these things, to be aware of these words. And the next type is exaggerated or overgeneralized words. For example, those words can include inevitably, definitively, undoubtedly, universally, unstoppable. And those words are exaggerated or overgeneralized words. And the next category is comparative versus superlative traps. Best, worst, least, greatest, ultimate, perfect, impossible, no chance. So I highly recommend you to know these. And I've actually got a PDF in the description below if you want to access to these. And now let's move on to the next strategy, strategy number 3. And it's also really, really powerful. And if you know how to use it well, you can ace your exam. So let's start off. So it's all about understanding percentage increases. And a lot of the times on the FAT, in many of the exams, there are always questions related to percentages. So it's really important to understand this strategy. So firstly, before telling you how the strategy works, I want to show you the SAT question that will illustrate how it's used. The result of increasing the quantity X by 200% is 21. What's the value of X? So in this case, we've got a quantity, which is X. And this is like 100%. And if we have to add 200% of that, that would be 200%. That would be 2x. Let me fix that. Yep. 2x. And if we add both, because it's being increased, that would be 3x. 3x equals 21. And x equals 7. So here we found the right answer. So the best choice is B, 7. And here's a trap. D is a trap because they are using the same number as you can see here. So yeah, make sure that you're not gonna be rushing. So the main strategy here is understanding percentage increases. So here are 3 examples of them. 100% increase is doubling the original number. 200% increase is tripling the original number, and 300% increase is quadrupling, and so on and so forth. So here, this was the strategy number 3, and now let's move on to the next strategy number 4, and that is knowing these March SAT predictions. And the link to the PDF of like literally 100% free 12-page worksheet of those SAT English predictions is in the description below, and you can get access to it completely for free. So now let's move on to the last and most important strategy of all, and it's the one that is way more powerful than all these first 4 strategies. And if you know this one, I'm sure it's gonna be easy. And that strategy or tip, you could say, is avoiding choices that assume too much. Before you click off this video, I want to say that this one is so tricky, and sometimes you may not even realize that you are assuming. That's why you literally have to pay attention to this SAT question that is on the screen right now. And let's have a look at this one. Which choice best describes the function of the 2 underlined portions in the text as a whole? So as you can see, you have a short 4-line poem, and you've got a multiple choice question, and which asks us about the function of those 2 underlined portions. The first one is autumn and leaves, and the second one is my memories drift. So firstly, let's understand what this poem is about. So it's like a story, right? We've got a windy autumn day, and there are leaves. They're swirling all over the place. So that means they have no control. They just move wherever they want. The wind pushes them wherever the wind pushes them. And you could think about memories as well here. So yes, they're kind of comparing those 2 things. And memories are also the ones that we don't really control. And just like those leaves in the wind, our thoughts, our memory drift around chaotically. So I guess the first underlined part, which is leaves, is kind of physical object. And the next second underlined part, which is memories, is abstract thing. So I guess the poem here is making a comparison between those first physical and abstract objects. So now let's go through the answer choices. Choice A. The poem isn't about time passing. It's about how memories move. Like, let's look at choices. They contrast 2 perspectives, one external, one internal, on the passage of time. Well, this poem isn't about time passing, and it's about how memories move like those leaves. So this is wrong. Choice B, they provide examples, one natural, one psychological, of a force beyond control. So this one is so tricky, and it's almost correct because both winds and our memories are out of control. But it does examples, and the point isn't just listing those examples. It's making kind of a comparison, or we can also say that as a metaphor, maybe. Now, choice C, they describe the subjects, one tangible and one intangible, of a metaphor that extends throughout the poem. Yes. So the leaves here are tangible, and the memories here are intangible. And the poem, the poet compares them through very extended metaphor here. So I guess that's a perfect match. Now let's look at choice D. They symbolize 2 different experiences, one painful and one nostalgic, that the speakers revisits in the poem. Well, the poem never says that one is painful and the other is nostalgic, so that's an assumption, I believe. So as you can see, I believe the best choice here is choice C. And now here's our strategy, which is assuming it looks like this. The SAT only asks about what is actually in the text, not what you think might be true. For example, in this case, in choice A, passage of time would be something that students might think, right? Because memories drift is kind of related to passage of time, but it's something that we're assuming. And even in choice D, you're kind of assuming that one is painful or the other is nostalgic. So that's the thing that you want to look out for. And if you truly want to get a very high SAT score on your upcoming exam, then I believe that you need way more strategies, way more practice questions so that you can nail your exam. And in this playlist right here, you can get access to so many tips, strategies, hacks that you need to get your dream SAT score on your next exam.